Now you're going to read about 5 different colonists and infer whether they were a patriot, a loyalist, or neutral. I'm going to model how to do that. While you read, the only thing you need to do is highlight any clues that show whether this colonist might be a patriot, a loyalist, or neutral. Then on the next slide, you'll explain why in a few sentences. So let's read about Colonist A. Colonist A is a poor farmer in the Hudson Valley of New York. I'm going to highlight that they're a poor farmer. I think that's important. And they're in New York, so I know they're in the northern colonies. Colonist A had paid no attention to the trouble brewing in the colonies. His day-to-day struggle to maintain his farm and family is what worries him. His problems have recently become worse. His landowner, a loyalist, has had some financial troubles, and to get himself out of enormous debt, his landowner raised Colonist A's rent 3 times in the past 5 months. Colonist A barely earns enough from selling his crops to pay the original rent amount, and now with the raise in rent, Colonist A will be evicted or kicked out from his farm. He and his wife have 6 children and fear that they will have nowhere to go if they are forced to leave the farm. Okay, so I have a few clues about whether Colonist A would be a patriot, loyalist, or neutral. I know that they live in New York. That's close to New England. That's where most of the patriots live, but that's not enough information yet. Well, his landowner is a loyalist, and he's raised his rent 3 times in the past 5 months. I think he's really not paying attention to what's going on in the colonies. He says he's paid no attention to the trouble brewing in the colonies. So at this point, I'm going to make an inference that Colonist A is neutral, but I think this may change. If his landlord continues to raise his rent, or if Colonist A loses his farm, he may become a patriot since his landowner was a loyalist. His main concern right now, though, is his farm and his family. So I think he's neutral, but that could change. Great. So I highlighted the text with the clues that tell me what side the colonist probably took. Now I'm going to go to the next slide and make my inference. So, open-ended question. Do you think Colonist A was a patriot, loyalist, or neutral? Explain why you made your decision. Use evidence from the text to support your decision. And here's your CFS. You have to use the word either patriot, loyalist, or neutral in your response. You must cite evidence from the text to support your answer. And you have to write at least 2 to 3 sentences with proper punctuation and grammar. I already have my answer prepared, so I'm just going to copy and paste so you can see. Colonist A is very concerned about the well-being of his family. The most significant or important issue is the fact that his rent has gone up 3 times in the past 5 months. So that is where I quoted from the text, and that he cannot afford to pay it. The fact that his landowner is a loyalist is secondary. However, in the future, the fact that his landowner is a loyalist and supports the British may result in Colonist A developing feelings of resentment. I believe Colonist A is neutral, but he may become a patriot later if he becomes more resentful of his landlord or if he loses his farm. Great, and let's check the CFS. I used the word neutral, and I also said he might become a patriot in my response. I cited evidence from the text, and I wrote at least 2 to 3 sentences with proper punctuation and grammar. Great. So for the next 4 colonists, you'll read a little bit about them. Make sure you highlight the clues that tell you whether you think they were a patriot, loyalist, or neutral. And then you'll explain why in at least 2 to 3 sentences, and make sure you have at least 1 quote from the text. Good luck.